Welcome, Angela. Welcome, viewers. It's such a pleasure to see you here today. I am so blessed and honored to have.
I'm so blessed and honored.
Thank you. It's been a while. And okay, Angela, I would like to introduce you to viewers from the way I see you and from kind of who you are in my world. And in my world, you are a person who always is driven by making sure that our planet is taken care of. And when even before it was a cool and popular thing to do and say, which now it is, and congratulations.
A little ahead of the curve. Sorry it took a pandemic.
Finally, your work is paying out and people are attentively listening. And I think that is so important. But you've been one of the people that's been driven by that for a long time. And I appreciate that. And you always have this reasoning with kind of a conscious approach. While you see problems, you always come up with the solutions. You don't just go and say, this is a problem. Now everybody go and cry, right? You say, this is a problem and these are solutions I propose to you. And these are solutions that I'm working on. These are solutions that other people, like-minded people, are working on. And so I really appreciate that. I appreciate that you are in the world and you're doing this work. And we as a global society need more of you doing the work like this to make sure that our lives are experiencing beauty of now and that our children and our grandchildren learn how to implement the practices of building something and leaving it better than we found it. I think that that's kind of when I think about you, I think leave it better than I found it. And
that's the highest compliment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So before we dive into all these discussions, I do want to catch up with you. And I know that you're working on something very interesting right now that is relevant to so many people, and it is growing food at home. So basically farming, right? Gardening at home in a way that makes it simple, affordable, and possible. So you have a subscription box that allows you to do gardening at home. And let's talk about that first.
Okay, we'll start there. I do want to thank you for your very kind words. That's extremely generous. And if anybody could think of me in that way, that's amazing. And I actually think of you in a very similar way, because I actually think of you as the bridge to sort of I feel like we're part of a community. You and I met, I think, the first time a few years ago at Pier. And from that moment at Pier, and it was January 3rd or 4th for that first week.
First gathering for Pier Summit. So
it was the first Pier Summit, yeah. Mm-hmm. And it was like you somehow became the center of that whole professional universe of mine. Because somehow you were in all of the places giving that message. And what you do so beautifully, and what I'm so grateful for, is that you listen to everybody's views and opinions, and then you help me understand somebody else's opinion, right? When I don't have the opportunity to do that, you do have this very graceful way of explaining something that I might normally listen to, that I might not normally listen to. So you have mastered the craft of that, and I honor you for that. So thank you. And what I'm going to try to do is teach people to fish and teach people why to fish. And instead of fish because I'm vegan, we're going to teach people to grow food. So I've been working on this project around, for me personally, I think of it as my last mile to a healthy lifestyle. I've done it all. All the exercises, all the meditations, all the breath work, all the tinctures, all the CBD, all the smoothies and the juices and the la 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 la. And I felt like through COVID, I was one of those that was like, home gardening all of a sudden, like, let's grow food at home. And then of course, because we are who we are, we just have to know everything about it. Right now I have to understand what are my options. Now I have to understand everything about hydroponics. I have to understand everything about aeroponics. I have to understand. And what I discovered is that the most nutritious food you can grow is in soil. We can spend hours talking about all of the different hydroponic nutrients and how much advancements have been made. And I'm not knocking it. And if that's how you're growing food, I'm happy that you're growing food, because I think the most important thing is that we're growing food. I think the most important thing is that we understand the plight of an American farmer, even if we're not one. If you don't know how hard it is to do this, you can't understand the argument around Monsanto. You can't understand the argument around how important it is that we have sunlight if you haven't tried to grow food. And right now in Santa Barbara, I've got so much UV light, nothing is moving because there's no sunshine getting to my plants. Okay, so this little exercise to me feels like the last mile, like that last healthy mile. Like I actually get to understand what I'm doing. You get your hands dirty, and then you, when you learn and you watch and you learn patience and you learn grace and you get okay with failure, and you are delighted by successes and all of these amazing things that are happening sort of cellular, right? Like in your body, this is like amazing things. And then what you're putting in your body, you can have so much confidence in, because it came from, we're shipping you organic seedlings that from an organic grower in California. We're shipping you organic soil, living soil. We're shipping you grow pots. We're shipping you all of the instructions, educational videos, nutritional values and recipes, and a timeline. Here's what you can expect. Here's your little seedling, your little arugula seedling, and here's what you can expect for it to happen. And here's some recipes down the road. We're just excited to be able to, and we're doing it like 2 or 3 plants a month. Like, you're not going to be overwhelmed. We're not going to leave you out there alone. And if that little seedling dies, it's not the worst thing in the world, because you're going to get another one, right? So we just sort of believe in, can we all just get back to kind of like what it's about? And it's just like, how can we protect and understand the planet that we live on? And wouldn't we all come closer to that? And wouldn't we be doing a service to our children if we could teach them? So that's one of the things that I'm working on that's most exciting. And in terms of technology, it's got a killer back-end system. So like we've nailed every, like all that's done, but there's not a lot of technology in it. It's just soil and quality product and shipped to your home.
Yeah.
With a whole lot of love and a whole lot of intention. We have 60 years of topsoil left. That just means that,
you know, it's interesting. I wanted to kind of add to this is that, well, so we at home here in Austin experienced similar realization to what you did, me and Justin, our family, is that, you know, we kind of need to connect better to our food source, because when we started having problems with saying, well, I don't really trust the supply chain, and I'm not really interested in going, you know, back when just kind of a big ask was for everybody to go and stay home, and, you know, we did not know much about what is happening with the world, and we had no data whatsoever, right? So we also started kind of gardening, and we bought a milking cow, we have chickens, we have our eggs. So we started kind of looking at how do we bring back people to their food, and bring back, I think, is so important, because it kind of allowed us, and it's a rabbit hole, right? It's such a rabbit hole, because we started going to that rabbit hole. We started learning about how the gardening, how the farming works, what are the best practices, what works, what doesn't. And for example, what came up, one of the first things that we learned is that, for example, organic. So organic versus natural. And organic will use, so in organic, they use tilling, and tilling kills topsoil, right? It just washes it off. And like you said, one of the problems that we have in the world is actually a loss of topsoil. We are actively losing topsoil through traditional farming and through kind of the machines that we use, right? So instead of tilling, you can actually diversify and plant plants that, you know, create a biodiversity, so you can create better grass, better foods. There's interesting
biochar and worms and
exactly. And so that's kind of, to us, been huge work in saving the topsoil, and not just saving, but improving topsoil.
Yes.
It's one of the biggest things that we must do. And I love what you're doing. I'd love to collaborate on this as well, because we are actually thinking about how do we reward farmers through some kind of a nonprofit tokenized contribution, right? So like use cost specific offering. So it's catered for nonprofit, to where they can be empowered to transition their traditional, farming techniques to these techniques that just require more investment up front, right? And then learning curve to be more profitable, and kind of a show that their biodiversity of soil is growing and getting better. And by the way, biodiversity of soil is what we refer to topsoil. So topsoil is just this many different organisms that create that nutritious layer that provides food, and it provides food for vegetables, and it should provide food for animals. For those people that are not only consuming plant food, they need to be connected better to their food, because you see, if you're eating a cow who is fed,
only eating corn.
Well, it's not the corn. So you
well,
see,
whatever it is.
So the cow stomach is designed in a way to where it metabolizes grass, and it moves it from chamber to chamber. And what, especially milking cow, what cow makes milk from is actually the microbiome in that stomach. So it has to eat grass, right, to produce this. So also what happens is that basically a cow gets sick. Its rumen gets sick if you give it grain, and it stresses cow out. So now you have a stressed out, unhealthy cow who needs to be treated with antibiotics. And the reason I'm explaining this is because I want to, that's how the state of the world of the food is. That's how disconnected we are as a global society.
That's right.
From the source of the food, okay? So what ends up happening is that this cow now has to receive antibiotics.
Can we talk about that for a minute, Irina? Can we talk about just how disconnected we are? I mean,
we are. And so
when did that happen?
Well,
did that happen with the increase in population, with the demand of I gotta have it now, with the overconsumption of some of these products? At what point did we become so disconnected from our food that we will eat anything?
Well, you see, we never knew about micro elements of food. And so I think
we didn't have to, though, right? We didn't have to.
That's why what you're doing is so relevant. And that's why people are now connecting better to their food. That's why people are doing these practices. That's why we also invested in Moon Ridge Ranch, right? It's not necessarily only the nonprofit driven, let's save the world. It actually makes profitable sense to be able to do it.
Oh, this is not a nonprofit business.
No, it's not. Nonprofit. No. So the thing that I'm talking about, a nonprofit, it's just a nonprofit organization to allow people to support farmers.
Oh, I see. I see.
So buy your biodiversity. Throw $100 into somebody's biodiversity, and
yes,
that's all. So Moon Ridge is a for-profit farm, for sure, because the farming, we need to demonstrate to farmers too that this system works for profits, right? Because that's how we can burn the farmers to actually do it. Right? Because if it's not profitable and it's a system that only works for nonprofit,
right.
It's like a centimeter instead of a mile steps, right? So, but I think that that's kind of the interesting thing. And now I want to answer your question. I think that it's just a natural evolution of a discovery of industrialization that we had. It was an amazing push in innovations, and we pushed our boundaries so far to where we can use petroleum for food, basically, right?
That's right.
So now that we have pushed that boundary so far, we also have other innovations, right, that allows us to say, oh, wait a second. Actually, we can analyze on this microcellular level and understand how things work. So, oh, okay, so these are the things that we care about. And I think that what we are doing, and so many people, what you are doing with, because you're not just doing this, right? You have other verticals of work. You also allowing people that grow be able to sell, which is important, right? So I think that we are now in a natural evolution to where what we're doing is needed, and it's that next push forward, the connecting to our earth, right? Because we have it, I don't think it's evil. I don't think it's, we just pushed without knowledge, and now we learn, and now we're going to heal. And I'm sure in this society we will push again. And
for sure.
I trust that we will not self-destruct this time.
Well, that's, I mean, it's interesting, right? Because we don't know which directions we'll push. I mean, I think your point is that, of course, we're going to push. That's what we are. We're human beings, and we're innovation seekers, and we're curious, and and that's what we do as humans. And maybe we'll take this journey. And, you know, I always, an old boyfriend said that, you know, you give kids roots and wings. And I feel like that's kind of this very fundamental place where we are, where we all need roots and we all need wings. But let's not forget about the roots, right?
Yeah, it must be rooted. Yeah.
And let's understand, even seasonally. I mean, I've just really like fallen into this whole, like, the rabbit hole, right? Like,
it's such a rabbit hole.
Like, you just go like, okay, root vegetables in the fall, root, soil, earth, comfort food. I mean, you think about what is a root, right? And why is it that it's in the fall that's what I mean, when you think, it's all provided for us, right? Everything is provided. But the question is, are we paying attention? And are we willing to get in there and figure out how the whole system works, right? You and I know a lot of people who deal with systems. You and I know a lot of people who build systems, who create systems. We are part of one. And I think we forget that, right? Every single thing that is a natural resource, including ourselves, is dependent on the other natural resource. And when we can all figure out how we can be better at maintaining our roots, then I think our wings are going to take care of themselves, right?
Yeah.
Like, maybe we will be more aware and not make the same decisions that will completely deplete our natural resources at all costs, right?
I love what you're doing too, is that you're making it possible and really available, right? It's a simple step. You get this box, you connect to earth better, and then actually you can sell it too. So you can almost create this micro gardeners, because really, if you have a quarter of land,
I was going to say, you don't need a whole lot of space.
Right. But I'm just saying that if you have a quarter of land, you eventually could get it to where you can say, oh, I'm producing enough vegetables for myself and to pay for my mortgage, right? But it all starts with those couple seeds in a little box.
That's right.
You know, because then you get that, you learn that, you eat it, and then you say like, okay, I was gonna sell it, but I'm gonna eat it.
well, there's that too. We give tons of like great recipes on how to harvest and freeze, so that you can use it throughout the year.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there's great elixirs and great things to do with these herbs that we can grow in the wall, and that will help preserve their nutritional value as well. So, and also in the box, it's really fun because it's like 75% of the box is growing plants, and then 25% is, who are those superheroes in life that we just think are like, they're just crushing it on living the healthy life, but maybe they are, like, I interviewed a woman for the box. She does this habit science, right? So she takes down habits, and you spend a month breaking down, what does this habit mean in your life, and where is your attachment? So I just love that we can all take a minute and be like, what is actually happening? What is actually happening in the world? What part of me that gets up and does every single thing unconsciously? I mean, do I not think I have any responsibility or have any role in how all this works? Like, come on. What's my
including
part?
your body, right? Because
My
it's
body. That's exactly right.
like I wake up and drink a glass of water. You can at least make that for yourself possible, right? Because my bet is that when you drink a glass of water after 7 to 14 days, you'll be like finding yourself drinking lots more water. If you're drinking lots more water, every time you eat healthy food, you'll start noticing that like you feel better a little. It's those little incremental changes, but you are the decision maker of your body and and your environment.
But I think that we just started being so unconscious in our decisions. I think that there is this sense of, I don't think that people really think, and I don't mean, I'm not pointing outwards, I mean, even myself, I'm not sure that I even thought, like, how does food get from China to here?
Yeah.
And I can still eat it.
Yeah.
Like, what must they do to that food?
Yeah.
So that it can travel around the world and be served to me as fresh?
Yeah. To me, it's a point of evolution, because I think that we're learning how to be more conscious. Before we were less conscious. I think that's we kind of have this luxury finally of being able to ask ourselves these questions, right? Because and we understand the production. It's no longer the God made me the vegetable, so I'm gonna, right? So I mean, at some point with people,
but isn't that interesting?
It is, but we understand micro production. We understand how it works, and so I think it's the abundance of the information and self-analysis is finally allowing us as this civilization, right, to get to a point to where we consciously can make accessible decisions and think about, oh, it does that, instead of kind of we what the rulers say, following what the authority says, following against necessarily things that we have the rights now and ability, I think, to open up our consciousness.
Well, it's just like the grocery store. Like, you're not thinking you're going to go to the grocery. Nobody is intentionally putting something in the grocery store that's going to make you unhealthy, right? I mean, they're putting things in the grocery store that might taste good. It might taste good.
Yeah.
But maybe it isn't something that you should eat every day. I mean, we're saying the same thing, right? I mean, essentially what it is there's an opportunity for us to all now learn more, and then make some decisions based on what we learn. And then what we're offering in the planted box is also that, I mean, the box is a planter. I mean, it's all like very sustainable and very cool. And it's like, you'll get a tray of microgreens every month, and then you'll get these little seedlings and all these little things. And it's like, we really want to take the hard part out of it and just make it something and if you decide it's not for you, that's fine. But it won't be because you didn't give it a shot and that you weren't part of a giant community and learn a little bit.
And I bet you'll be super cool at a party when you say, I just got my microgreens box and I just planted them and they're cool, and you bring into your micro bubble or whatever people call their little environments that they're going back to. If you bring your microgreens that you grew, okay, or anything else, you will be the coolest star of the show, I promise. So
that's right.
To take those steps.
That's right. And then, like, you put like a little sprig of lavender and basil and half of a lemon wedge in your water. It's like, it's delicious. I mean, anyway, you and I we are the eat right. And it tastes different, right? I mean, the taste of food that you grow opposed to the taste of food that you buy, it is exponentially different.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I just thought it was.
You end up, that's what I really like about the point that you're actually even making it commercializing, right? Because in some ways, and that's from my experience, anything that I grow and harvest, first I want to feed myself, my family, my friends, but it keeps expanding. So I want to be able to provide that for people. And so I love that you have ability to be able to also marketplace where you can sell, because often I think that is that incentive that can make people say, you know what, I'll I'll subscribe to the box. I'll do this. I'm learning now. I know better how to do it, so I can scale it up a little bit better, and then I can sell it, and then maybe it can recover the cost, so I can get free food and I can share
Well,
it.
it's true. And you find, and you guys have been growing food, so you know that there's like, you know, on my block, I can grow basil like nobody's business, but I don't need that much basil. Like,
Right.
so I have way too much basil, right? So the app is really, you can just barter it. Like I don't, right? The app is like, if you just want to give it away, give it away. But
Yeah.
and people put it outside their house and in a little jar and they say, take it, or here's $1 honor system or whatever. But there's also tons of people who have like just right in their neighborhood. I mean, the deal is you open your phone and you open the map.
Is it already working? Is it already functioning? Are you shipping?
No, it is not. It is not. We're shipping plants, but the box is going to ship. The first box goes out the second week of October. It's brand new. I know. But you'll open the app and it'll just be a map and you'll just be able to see what's around you that's being grown. Like 30% of homes are growing food in this country pre-COVID. So you'll be surprised what you see. And I just feel like it's a good thing to highlight. You know, the app is really sort of small farms, and there's so many small local farms, but we're just not, I mean, I really don't know about the app yet. We keep working on it. But you know, when you build something and you put it in people's hands, it turns into something else, right? It could turn into being like a bakery in your pocket or a farmer's market in your pocket. I'm not sure yet what it's going to be, but yeah, we're excited about it.
You also, it seems like you're also connecting people back to their food.
Yeah.
And back to, you know, to kind of their roots. And it's so important to be able to do it. I just love it. And I think that it works for many different, for other countries too, right? Because in countries like Seoul, or city like Seoul, right? They have very big problem with the topsoil. And so doing something like that there would make a huge difference for people because, you know, they're eating dry crickets and all that, right? Which is awesome source of protein.
Yeah.
I'm not taking it away, but like a plants is not abundant here. Here we live in a luxury. America is extremely luxurious country, and we live in an abundant world of many opportunities. And for most people who have home and have a green lawn that they're sprinkling, they could convert that in a food production, and it actually looks nice and pretty too, right?
It is pretty. We also have a product. It's called a living wall. So it's a 17 pot vertical gardening system with irrigation and everything, but it grows in half-gallon pots. So everything, so you really just get little pots of food.
Have you already launched that?
Yeah, so that is available now, and it's got it's on wheels, so you can. Yeah, you need that. You need that. You put it on wheels so you can move it in or out. But it's meant to live outdoors and just grow your food. I have one, of course, mine has 2 sides, so I've got 33. So I'm growing food on both sides of that wall, and it's just like, it just changes your life. I mean, you just go out to the wall in the morning with your coffee and you go out and you pick your salad. It's just, and it's gorgeous.
And it's
They're
magic,
just
right?
gorgeous.
Like,
it is magic.
It
does feel a little bit like magic. I know.
You take this thing, you put it in there, and the technology allows us to be able to work,
I know.
Orders, and then you go and get this and there's nothing yummier than, like, you cannot buy a cucumber.
No.
Farmer's market or anywhere you are that you grew.
You grew. Is there a better tasting one? Yeah.
And it just comes off when it just comes off the plant and you put it in your mouth, and it's just explosion of, I think, what it means to be a human, you know, because we are physical, right? We have physical bodies. We have, like, we run on a fuel, and, you know, whichever 2 fuels you metabolize, whether it's glucose or ketones, it doesn't matter. It is a fuel, and getting it from the pure source of your own effort. It's like,
Brilliant.
I am the magician. I made this cucumber.
It is the pride that comes in it. There is so much pride in it. And the nutritional value. I mean, the other thing is that it's really about education, right? Like that nutrition depletion for every mile that a plant travels away from where it was harvested, that's real. And it's okay. We can't all just grow our own food 100%, right? I get that.
Right. We can't, right.
It's very aspirational, and not even aspirational. Let's be honest, right? Like, but the truth is that the value is in understanding it, and what you do get that you will eat, and you will be able to eat off of it. I mean, you will save money. I mean, it will become food that you can eat off of.
To grocery store, you understand, right?
That's it.
Because you grow, you know, oh, this works, this doesn't. You know, you understand about how it works. So when you go to the grocery store to buy something, or when you go to the restaurant, you know how to ask, right?
And you know why your apples don't taste great in June, right? You understand the plant cycle. You understand that the orchard, that what harvest actually means is that's it. This is when you're supposed to eat your food, right? So anyway, we love it. We're excited. I will have to send you a box, and you're going to have to get yourself a wall.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yes, 100%. I'll take pictures with that and everything.
Yeah.
You know, I think also it's so important for us to be able to do it for our children. And I think that, you know, when you said box, I thought, oh, what a great way to get kids occupied right now and teach them about science, because so many children are at home with Zoom. That's right. Parents are thinking, how do you maybe expand their development, right? Not just through Zoom, but other things. And I think, I mean, that came to my head right away is think about children, you know, just buy the box for children and make it to them let them have that experiment, because now you're making it a family thing. You will do it together with them, and you connect your children to this source.
That's right.
Even if you do not adopt it,
that's right,
they're more likely to do so. And the thing about our children is that they become our future, and they will be the drive that makes our reality in the future.
I think about it all the time, through this period especially, and like how interesting that your daughter, the blip that will result from this period of time in her life and in your life, in all these kids' lives, right? Like, what are we going to watch happen for the kids whose education was turned upside down, or maybe corrected? I mean, can we just say that? Like, who knows? I mean, obviously Zoom is an awful way to learn. I believe
that those things happen for good, and I think that the construction of that does not serve is very important.
That's right.
But you know, but it's necessary. And in my opinion, on all the verticals, we're seeing a bettering, you know, of the systems. And
because they didn't serve. That's right, because they don't serve. And so we're going to fix them. But I agree. I think that there is that whole family thing, and get the kids' hands in the dirt, and then kids understand food. And you know what? You might give your kids the gift of understanding food better than you did.
Right. And most likely you will. So assume that your children are going to know and understand the world more than you do. Maybe you'll have some wisdom about interpersonal whatever, but like the way world functions in the reality of now, for 20 years from now, you're going to be the old persons did not know, who is like not catching up to it, right? We all will be. And we can stay adaptable, and we can eat healthy and work out and do all these things. But it is our children who is going to decide our now when we're old.
It's true. Absolutely true.
You know, make that decision, because their chances are their lifestyle will also depend, their lifestyle will influence the way you live as well. So
that's right.
You know, investing in our children, living the world better than we found it is the key. And that's what it is. How can we talk to them about being ecologically aware when we're sitting there and watering lawns, of grass that does not belong there and it usually requires a lot of water and maintenance?
That's right.
Do as I say and not as I do is a strategy that does not work for a long time.
That's exactly right. Do
Yeah.
as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
That's right.
So we're doing, but you know what? We are doing. And
we are doing.
Our generations, we are doing, and people are doing all over the world, and things are getting better. And that's one of the reasons that I think that I'm really excited to have these calls and share them with.
Oh, it's so good.
Because I want people to see that we are doing, and there's so many people that are, and they're doing so many different things with an intent of bettering others' life. It's no longer me, give it me, how I can profit now. I think we have this shift of consciousness to where like, oh, you.
Can I share something with you that I went through recently? Something that with a project I was working on. It just speaks to exactly what you just said about helping other people. And so one of the other things that I did over COVID, I don't know how much time we have. I don't want to take too much time, but one of the things that I did over COVID.
It's just
oh, that's right. That's right. This isn't NBC. This isn't the Today Show.
Another one.
No commercial breaks. I started a nonprofit for homeless people. I raced sailboats, and I took a class in circular economy over COVID from the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. And I've always been into sustainability, and I've always been very much about the planet. I'm vegan and all the things, right? I do all the things, but I do them all because they're actually who I am. I mean, they're like endemic to who I am, and I've been that for many, many years. But as we bring these 40-foot sailboats in at the end of the day, and we have 80-foot sails that are hundreds of thousands of dollars, and the material, a sail material, I don't know when the last time you've seen sail material, but to race, a racing sail is very high-tech material, very expensive material, very sturdy, right? So I kept thinking, and I lived in downtown LA, right? So like, you can't live in downtown LA and not be impacted by the homeless population. And if it's true, then there's something wrong with you. But it got so deep in me, and it bothered me so much that I was like, we have to fix this. We have to help these people. And I literally lived, I mean, I watched them, right? And I just sort of became a student of this behavior and this problem, right? And I'm not I don't know whose problem. Look, I'm just saying there is a problem.
Yeah.
And so,
undeniable. Yeah.
So I took to the task to try to figure out how to help. Of course, there's nothing worse than somebody who thinks they can solve a problem that they don't have. Like, I don't have a homeless problem. Why do I think I can solve that problem? I don't even know a thing about that problem, right? And I get that. I know that I don't know what I don't know. And I also know that my solution might not be their solution, right? Humanity is known for that, right? Like, well, we're going to go fix them, and we're going to do this because this is what they need. We don't know what they need. So, but I still was going to do it. So I was still like, I'm going to help. And as I'm working with nonprofit organizations in downtown LA, nobody would talk to me. Like, I couldn't figure out why nobody would talk to me. And I've never been somebody who makes a phone call and nobody calls back, or sends an email and nobody, I'm just like, and so I'm starting to be like, okay, this has got to be COVID. Like, this has got to be a COVID situation. Like, everybody's really busy. Let's just be a little bit more patient. Things are taking a little bit longer. Finally, I reached out to a reporter at the LA Times, and I was like, okay, why is nobody calling me? Why can I not get in touch with anybody to help me? I have these incredible things. I'm working with an incredible architecture firm out of LA, and we have figured out how to take these sales, right? And he said, the city will feel like you are enabling homelessness if you help them with shelter. And it struck me as one of those issues where we have a problem and we have a policy, and the policy is not helping the problem. And it was just, for me, I felt like I have to go into my community. I was so glad to talk about this with you and be like, how can we do better what do we owe them in terms of a population or anything? And when I say them, I'm talking about Vietnam vets. I'm talking about human beings who fought for this country and who are sleeping on a street. That's how we're doing. That's as good as we're doing for them. Plenty of drugs, no doubt, and plenty of mental health. I don't have the answer. And so I'm trying to throw, I understand, a Band-Aid at it, right? By giving somebody a safe shelter. I'm not giving anybody a home. I can't give anybody a job. And I can promise you these people are not going to go to school. They are not candidates for rehab. We have problems, right? So it's just been really interesting to find. Now, a lot of the material that we use gets shipped into boxes that go to refugees around the world because there's problems that are happening with people that are put out for natural disasters and they physically need. So as I'm sort of peeling back the layers of this and just studying this phenomenon that's in this country more than most, it's not, homelessness doesn't exist everywhere in the world for reasons that
in a lot of countries, and in a lot of countries it's highly hidden too.
Exactly. I mean,
like if you take a homeless person and you put them into mental institution and you lock them up and medicate them and give them, you know, drugs for schizophrenia and make them work in, you know, make them make switches for lights or whatever,
right.
Like, you know, that's not a shelter, that's not a living, right? So, and a lot of countries do that.
They do. They get hidden or they get put to work.
They have homelessness, and it looks like they have jobs and they have placements for them, but
they don't always.
Yeah.
Well, it was just interesting. I mean, I loved the candor of the feedback, and I don't have an answer and I don't have a solution right now, but I have a problem and I have a bunch of things that I could do to help if they will help. So anyway, I just share that with you because
so you guys, what is it that you guys do? What is the solution? It's do you guys raise through sailing or you use the material to tell me more about what you guys do?
The sales are just donated and we pick them up and then we convert them. They're donated, right? And so then we convert them into material that can be easily constructed for shelter material.
That's amazing. Yeah.
But it's also happening, and some people are taking old sails and hanging them because they just provide shade as well, right? There's some areas, public areas, people need to be outside more. I mean, I've got schools who are talking to me who want the sails because, you know, they're massive and they're already made. And they're gonna go to landfill is where they're going.
No way.
Oh yeah, I mean they're all going to landfill. So I'm trying to get all the sales because we can do stuff with them.
So if you were a sailor and you like sailing and you're at a point to where you have a sail that you no longer want, please contribute it to your, what is the name of your nonprofit organization?
The organization is called Sail to Shelter.
Sail to Shelter.
And thank you. And what they would do is
it's two meanings, right? It's sail toward shelter, like sailing it to shelter, but also like sail as a physical thing to shelter.
Yeah.
Wow, amazing. I love it. Yes.
It was a good name. The words all came together pretty good. But you would just drop it at your yacht club, and not every yacht club. I mean, if somebody wants to donate a sail now and they're not in California, they should contact me because I'm from LA to San Francisco talking to those yacht clubs right now. But and New York and actually some in Australia.
That's amazing. Yeah, it takes time a little bit, and all it takes is for you viewer who has a yacht, sailing yacht, right? Am I calling it right? Or sailing? That's
right.
I don't know.
Yeah, of course, it's a sailing yacht.
Yeah, if maybe you can talk to your, to your yacht club and see if you guys could contribute that way. Because I think that's one of the things too, is that those that have availability for luxury can do simple things like that, right? So you're not even asking them for money or anything. You're just saying that which you are going to throw away will provide a shelter. And once there is a shelter, there's more possibility for sleep, for better sleep. There's more health leads
dignity There's dignity.
Yeah, dignity, and also more clear mind. If we don't sleep well, we become delirious, right? I mean, the human experiments show us that people lose their mind when they're forced not to sleep.
That's right.
And so how much of the problems could be just solved by having a shelter where a person who is going through what should be maybe transitional stage to, to be able to just sleep through these problems and wake up and maybe hopefully say, oh, okay, I want a better shelter. I can have a better shelter, right? Instead of just.
It's such a good point, Irina. It's such a good point. It really is. And it's funny because last week we were having a meeting and we have these spinnakers, the big bubble sail, when you see the one that has the big bubble.
Oh, okay.
And it's a really lightweight material. We started making hammocks, like sleeping. It's so funny that you said that about sleep, because, and you're also off the ground a little bit, right? So it was like, provide this, like, that feeling. Anyway, it's an amazing project. It's got tons of interest and tons of possibility and no legs yet. It's a lot of people really working together.
Figure out something, because one of the things that Moonridge is basically the land where ARA events. It's a conscious events conference that at the Moon Ranch, right? So they're not the same. They're separate. But one of the points is to kind of be the example of durable, and I don't want to say sustainable, because we don't need to sustain things. We need to have durable and regenerative living. And so I think durability is so important. And like you said, we're looking at many different kind of a sample. So what I'm imagining is we have 20 acres of woods that go through this like rocky terrain, like tapestry. And so that's the strip where I'm envisioning kind of these pods. Maybe it's a concrete pod that has moss growing over it. Maybe it's a Tulum style tree houses, kind of a different ways that you can have a small space for living. And so when you have a conference, you come and stay there. And I would love to see how that material also can be used, right? Because if it's durable too, then we can maybe use some kind of a durable.
I'll send you some material. You will not believe how incredible.
I believe they sell it. Why? There's just no recycling it?
Well, so it's funny because I've created a secondary market for dead stock material. So part of what I do in my circular economy is I focus on food and fashion. And so the circular economy, there is $120 billion worth of dead stock material in warehouses all over the world. And dead stock, for purposes of this definition, is material that was made but never turned into something. So it's not a finished good. The example would be this. Let's say something that has a polka dot. And let's say the designer said, I set an 8mm polka dot, not a 4mm polka dot. I want big polka dots. So they just put all of that they just made into a warehouse, bury it in the balance sheet, and go get the bigger polka dots. And that, my friend, is how it was done for many, 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 many years.
Wow. Yeah. So today, I speak on VCTV now every day. I love VCTV. It's kind of a global gathering for investors to talk about, what is happening. And today was the fashion and and sales. And so I believe it was Julio. I believe that was another speaker that was there. He basically mentioned the waste. And I mean, I kind of thought waste in a way to where, like, when you're cutting material, you have the waste. I mean, you're talking about rolls and rolls and rolls of this unused material. That's unbelievable. So how do we fix that? What is the proposed solution for this problem?
So there's a few of them out there. And one of them is just start making clothes with that material, or start making anything with it. Right? I mean, there is that too, because when something sits in a warehouse long enough, it starts to lose its value. But it is, and Queen of Raw, Stephanie Benedetto has an organization called Queen of Raw out of New York. I was helping with the blockchain solution, which was the enterprise solution called Materia, so she's put all that dead stock on the blockchain. That's a blockchain solution inventory system for dead stock. And we did that at Rice Exchange with the rice industry. So the thing about fashion is just like everything else, just like food, it's just education, right? We just need to talk about it. You need to understand that this is, plus how is it made, right? And there's a million things to read and watch out there about this. And I can send you all the stuff that you can, but to fix it, we have to stop demanding it. We have to stop selling a t-shirt for $7 at H&M and then can't ever take a picture on Instagram in the same t-shirt twice, right? We have to change that whole cultural phenomenon where you can never be seen in the same thing twice. That's ridiculous, right? I mean, it's the same to me as food. We have to come back to a place where we have an appreciation and understanding for the things that we have, that we make, that we need, that we love, right? We went a little crazy, just like you said. So now we bring it back and we go, hey, what is it what are the most important things?
Yeah.
And so
now we're returning back to our sources, to our roots, to our being, to our health, to our, even mental state for people.
I think so.
We're talking about problems people have that are homeless people have mental problems. So many people have mental problems that are supposedly well off, right? So many children. I mean, there are antidepressants that are prescribed to babies. I can't. I'm like,
you can fix that with food.
Crying, my baby's crying. What's wrong with it? It's like, well, babies cry. Okay, do not give antidepressants to your baby.
I'm shocked.
That's just insane. And if you're giving antidepressants to your baby and you want to defend your position, I will interview you and we have a good discussion about it.
Yeah, you should have that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, anyhow, I mean, so far all my talks have been with like-minded people, but I feel that some of the things
could happen.
Right. I'll go into a deep discussion if we need to and whatever. So yeah, it's interesting that mental state, and I think that mental state, it comes from this blue light from constant screens, through disconnection and eating these things that, a lot of people think they eat healthy, but they don't.
That's right. There's that.
They're making that effort to eat healthy and they're not, And
what do you find is the biggest culprit? What do you find that you think that people, that you're like, oh my gosh, they think that's healthy, but it's not? What's your...
Grains.
Yeah.
With sugars, because I'm not eating sugar, I'm eating vegetables, I'm eating grains. So I mean, that comes down to me, and I like to go in and tell everyone.
I know who you are.
Yeah. And so to me it comes with a misunderstanding of like, what is the source of fuel that we use in our body. And I thought that food and different ways you choose food are diets. And I think I live my life in understanding, what is that I want to achieve from different types of fuels, and how indigenously my liver can metabolize one fuel or the other, right? So if it is carbohydrates that I'm metabolizing, then I mean, there's a small difference between bread and rice. It's all carbs, right. And it's just carbs, right? So in the end of the day, liver will metabolize that. Now, if I'm metabolizing fats, then it's a different state. And we are neither one or the other. We are born to be living in cycles, because during abundance of summertime,
that's right.
We eat fruits, which, by the way, fructose, liver takes fructose and turns it into fats. And I think that's it, right? So it's like that fructose. Now, your simple carbohydrates, they turn into glucose, which is the water retention in your body. But the fructose will turn and store as a fat. Okay? People don't know that. So
I
they
know.
just,
It's a weird
I'm
thing.
eating a sandwich on rye bread and I'm not losing weight. Why is this happening? And I'm drinking diet Coke, so I'm not drinking any sugar. All these things are just misconceptions. But I think that we're finally getting to a point to where people are just, they have so much noise in their outside world through the screens, and in their inside world through all the things that are happening with their microbiomes and the cellular level, and really with the things that happen in their outside environment with the breathing, and just kind of a now not availability to even go outside for many people. Right. So I mean, to me, again, we're the point to where it's obvious, so now we're starting to fix it. But that's where I think the problem comes. It's just simply from misunderstanding and misknowledge and not knowing where to follow, which brings me to blockchain. And we love blockchain, and for those of you who do not know what blockchain for us stands for, it's not gambling with cryptocurrencies, right? It comes to a technology that is an old technology. Okay, it existed before Bitcoin, just to be clear, and it goes down to the single source of truth. It allows us to finally start saying that this information is an authentic information and it is immutable. So we can actually start having better information about what is factual, what is not. We can start recording our history in the way that it actually happened and all these things. And so blockchain, and you said that you guys, so that I remember you did the project for rice, and you said that it's Queen of Ra, basically, right? Mm-hmm. Is that what are you guys doing there with that?
So Queen of Raw is the dead stock material. She does fabric, and that is a consumer site. So I'll just share that, queenofraw.com. And if you have scrap material, you can load it up there. You can either buy it. If you have a project, you're trying to make something, you can buy it, you can sell it, whatever. The commercial product is called Materia. It is all blockchain inventory system of dead stock material around the world is what we're going for. And then the rice exchange is where we put the rice industry on the blockchain, and included insurance and banking instruments. And to your point, just really to try to create some transparency around that. Yeah. It's one, I mean, rice is it's a currency, right? I mean, it feeds the world, it employs the world, and it is fraught with all of the things that could go wrong when you're dealing with some, right? I mean, it's just, it's been a long journey getting the rice industry on the blockchain. You can imagine, right? The people who've been dealing in rice but everybody has been, I mean, it's been a tremendous journey. ricex.io, if you want to check that out.
Yeah. And all the journeys that are worth things, they will take time.
That's right. That's right. Just like growing something, right?
Exactly. We're going and we're progressing toward better. We are seeing big organizations implement this. They're starting to see marketing. We live in a world where now it's a marketing tool to show your, kind of a.
I know. I kind of hate that too.
Right. So you see, I think that it's a good thing, because if we can make that be profitable, if doing better, if making topsoil, if farmers now become really a topsoil producers, okay, that everything that they grows on their land is basically in a way an effect, a result of making better biodiversity, we shift we just shift to a positive. It's money is energy. Where we spend
of course.
and deploy money is I think shows us where the world is. And the fact that now the things that were our dreams now becoming more commercialized, becoming more popular, they becoming the marketing material. Because all marketing material is that what catches the attention and what people want to see. And so people want to see better things. They want to know that I'm wearing a shirt that produced consciously, and and I'm willing to pay extra money for it, just knowing that it is whatever values I value comes from, right? And to me, that's a sign of a big push in
shift. That's right. It's funny because we use the blockchain a lot for that as well. We talk about the blockchain in fashion, and there's threads that have RFID tracking in them so that you'll always be able to figure out where the garment, if it's an authentic, there are people designing clothes that then that material will just go back into the system and become something else. And when you're finished with your jeans, you take it and you take it right back to Levi's. They recycle it and do their thing with it. I mean, these are the things that are really interesting. And talk about kids. This is where you change the way your daughter feels about, right? I mean, what an opportunity.
Yeah, huge opportunity. And what you've just described is still hypothetical, right? But we do know the technology works for it. And I bet that when we talk in 5 years, that will be our reality, that it will be like, of course. And it will be something that I think that we'll be able to show with each other. Just like I want to roll into the party with my homegrown cucumbers and
that's right.
My homemade, like my home eggs that my chickens just wander around, by the way, at the yard. They have a coop. We open the door in the morning. And they just walk around. Our neighbors love it. Right?
I have a friend whose chicken just decided to coop in a tree, and now it doesn't go in the coop. They just 3 of them. They jump up in a tree and they put themselves to sleep. And if it's raining, they just hold on.
Are they going and laying eggs in the coop or hiding them?
They're hiding.
They hide them. Yeah.
So that is fantastic, right? I mean, I'm not sure everybody can grow a chicken, but what a lesson. I mean, what have you learned, right?
How cool we are when we come to a party with our eggs. And we come home, we go see a friend, and we come with homegrown eggs.
And you leave with, what do you leave with?
I mean, just happiness, right? Like, I don't even need, but I would love to exchange it for something like that barter that you described, that, we have 30 eggs. We have extra 20 eggs right now at our home. And because we have a milking cow that is, Jersey cow, A2 gene, right? So it's basically cow milk you cannot buy. And basically this is the cool thing. You'll really appreciate it for how the world have been working through the industrial kind of a era, right? Luckily it's the end of it. So thank you. We learned a lot. No,
bye.
Right, bye. But basically you have milking farms. Now, not even talking about the problems that are associated with milk.
No, we're not going to do that.
Whatever, right. You have farmers who have certain type of milking cows that make like beautiful white looking, beautiful milk. It's higher content on sugar, and that's what they sell because it yields a lot of milk. They're just like milking machines, right? And then you have this other cow.
Your cow.
My cow. That is, the milk is a little bit more yellowish. It's high content in fat. I mean, it's delicious. And your farmers that sell the milk will have their home milking cow. That is the Jersey, right? And actually, interestingly, a lot of people that are, what is it called when they have problems with the lactose intolerant? Those people that have lactose intolerance can, through better microbiomes, if they include little by little A2 milk, can benefit from the fats that are there, because that protein, that lactose does not have the same problems. I mean, it's amazing what we know about science, right? So
it doesn't have the same drugs in it.
right,
You
right.
understand that I'm not even sure that it's lactose intolerant as it could be just antibiotic intolerant.
Yeah, and then
it
it
could
kills
be
the microbiome in your body, which makes it. But I'm just talking about, Angela, I'm talking about just the protein difference itself. So like that's on a molecular level.
It's the same
right?
as I'm telling you about growing food. It's
Right.
the same.
Yeah. So, and it's like, we have milk, we have butter, we have cheese. When we come with our butter, it's amazing, right? And we have friends that we have a neighbor who helps us with milking cow, and she takes milk home. And it is so wonderful to be.
Don't you love that? The community of that. Oh, I love that. I want you to show me. I want a video. I want to see you do that. I want to see it.
Okay. Well, come to Austin.
I know.
Come to Austin. Come to the event. We'll be putting the event. So the first event, and it's not open to public. It's invitation only. The ARA event. It's conference. So think like thought leadership with combined with Burning Man and really integrating different innovations. So it's space and blockchain and a couple of other.
Well, you'll have to put me on the list or let me know who I can I can write a letter to.
Right. And so and it will be also hybrid because some people might not be able to drive, but being in October, it's last weekend of October, being October in Texas is best weather, right?
Yeah.
And I have people driving from all over. It's a radical self-reliance, find it in, like, live it better than you found it, basically.
That's the best.
Yes, thank you. By the way, it's called the co-creation. It's called co-creation age of integration, because I think that we really are at the point.
That's beautiful.
Open source is more open source and natural, and kind of integrating is better than closed source, unnatural, and exclusively working on your own thing. And so that's, the first event will be all about that. How do we actually integrate and implement different innovations, because we have so many,
I know
innovations, and everywhere they are, they're just so amazing. I can just spend all day talking about different innovations, and there's still more, and they're still coming up.
They're still coming. I know.
And we're so slow to be integrating. We're integrating in the terms of industrial era, and we need to start integrating in co-creative integration era. I think that this is the era of integration. This is when we must start understanding that the changes happen fast, right? Like, it used to be, we invented the wheel, and then like, wow, we're good for a couple 100 years. Let's roll on that. Nothing is going to change in my lifetime. I'm just going to puddle away. And
that is exactly right. Like, yes, it can change right now. That's right. So who are you putting together? What kinds of things do you think are cooking in your, what are you most interesting in partnering up in terms of?
Goodness gracious. In which terms? I also launched my company, Lumeria. So, I've been advising to 8 global securities exchange, and it's signed to launch. It's a 2-tier platform that allows company to go public globally, but it's 1 tier, and then the second tier is secondary. It's a secondary trading here in US, but it's auction based. So
that's interesting.
Yeah, so my company is a marketing company for innovations. So Lumeria is where innovations meet capital, right? And basically right now, I'm looking at all the innovations that have basically at the point to where they need to start looking at the capital for scaling, right? So, and I'm not using actually A round, B round, C round, because in space industry, it means completely different thing to be seed round. I mean, if you're a seed company, you're raising like $2-3 million, $4 million, and you already have to have a team, you have to have revenue. I'm like, wait, in the traditional technology, it's like you just kind of have a little prototype. That's all, right? Like you move past angel into the seed round. It's still very, very early, right? And
Yeah.
different industries, they have their own terminology and their different ecosystems. And I think that that's kind of one of the biggest bottlenecks that we have, is that innovations are going through traditional fundraising pathways, and there's just not enough deployment. Our traditional ways to raise money does not work anymore.
I think that's right. I worked with a company in Slovenia, co-founded, and they were really trying to figure out a way to recreate that funding system and that funding opportunity, really, right? Because when you're a startup, all you're doing is raising money. You're not even, you don't even get to build your business because you're so busy trying to chase the money.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're right. I mean, the system's broken. It does not serve the objective at all. We got to figure out a different way to do that.
And going public. So, I really believe that the future of the world, of global kind of us elevating ourselves globally, relies on giving the opportunity to small market cap companies.
Yeah.
Small market cap company is 40 million to $2 billion. Companies in that range, it's not worth it for them to go public. That's insane. It's insane, right? I mean, like, that is a big gap. You have $40 million company and you have $400 million company. You're playing different game. Like, this is unbelievable, right? And yeah, and so basically that's what I'm concentrating on top of other things on. So that's my first priority, is connecting capital to innovations, because my biggest concern has been that we are moving too slow. And
how do you get in? How do you help? How are you helping capital? Are you creating a different sort of measure of success so that, I mean, are you changing the timing? Yeah, you're basing it on different metrics.
Because it's an auction-based exchange, so now it's traditionally regulated exchange, right?
Yeah.
So it's none of this weird crypto pipeline workarounds. It's a real securities exchange. And for the global listing, they have one set of listings. For the US, they have different set of listings. It just allows you to put a different matrix. So I believe that the future currency and a now currency really is attention. And it is an attention, so it's attention, and then it has to be a specific attention, right? Because it's not just I have looked at it and it captured my attention. It needs to be a funding attention. And companies are missing that vertical because all they're concentrating is going in between rounds. Angel, C, A, B, C,
Awful.
D, E,
Awful.
F, G. It's like, for God's sake, please save me from this. And so what ends up happening, we end up having mergers and acquisitions where innovation just dies, because if you see, the thing about it is that at 100 mil, when we analyze the way companies work, and Alex Chapman is a great person he has like a millionaire path or something. So he helps companies scale. But at $100 million, usually what you need to do is exchange the leaders of the company. So you need to hire a CEO that can actually take a company to $1 billion, right? And usually the entrepreneur has,
that's interesting,
from the beginning. They are ready to exit by them because they already have a different idea.
That's
Entrepreneurs leave in their unknown. As soon as they start having traction, you usually need somebody else who actually leaves in that, right? Otherwise, we end up being stuck with people with a small number of people that can be all, right? We cannot sustain innovation in just 2-3 people in the world. We need entrepreneurs to be able to come in and contribute to their benefit, right?
Yeah.
The best they can. And then the business has the right, in innovation, has a right to be able to continue growing. And I believe that it's important to be able to pass the opportunities through going public as a small market cap company to people that are, I always think of a taxi cab driver in Africa. Okay. She can read Reddit. She can know about a company that just did something awesome. She should be able to participate in the growth stage for that company because she thinks she knows how to generate alpha, and I'm not going to tell her that she's not, okay? And she needs to be able to turn that opportunity for future, and she has the right to be able to do so. It's not any longer let us suck out the energy out of company until it's no longer useful and then pass it on to the suckers who are called, hold on, that term really drives me crazy, unsophisticated investors. Did you know that they called unsophisticated investors? Viewers, if you are not accredited investor, you are unsophisticated investor.
Thank you to the government for naming us, for calling that out. Yeah.
So look, it's
a category.
When we had an IPO, we didn't have access to information. We did not know, like, where would you learn about companies? How would you be able to analyze your own data? Brokers had to dial for dollars to tell people. So that's why there's all these measures. But now we live in a world where I will analyze my own data. If I think that I can generate alpha, and instead of going to a restaurant, right, I want to invest in this opportunity, I should be able to sign some waiver and say, I want this opportunity, talk to me later, right? This is a big picture, obviously, but the first thing that I'm doing is on concentrating on US market through the secondary listing for ATS, because the problem is that our investors don't get liquidity. Founders do not get liquidity. Okay, like as a founder, you're supposed to, like, I don't know, I kind of want you to be able to test out the value of your company and place some of your stock on the auction-based exchange and see if that pricing actually works as a baseline, because you see you raised for $10, next round is going to be 100, but you're in the middle pathway. How do you know? Well, list it for $5 and, for whatever.
See what happens. Yeah.
Right, see what happens. And then if it sells, put that money
interesting.
Have a vacation with your family. Not a big one, just for a week. Go, and then you'll come back with you. Or maybe there's that stressed investor who needs money for his daughter's education, and he's sitting there and pushing you and says, go. No, mergers and acquisitions. I have this private equity company, they will take us. And look, they'll buy it for $60 right now. So it's good. Exit. And you still stay involved with the company. They still will listen to you. Do not listen to them because they want and you want.
No, they will not.
They will kill your innovation. And so there's all these infrastructure problems right now that we're concentrating on fixing. Anyhow, this is the first time I actually, you're the first person that I have publicly discussed this. So you were out of me,
I love it.
Talk about what I do on this, and so thank you.
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, I love it when you can just sort of like put the words in it and it clicks, because you said it like you have been saying it for years, and it makes perfect sense to me, because it's actually it's such an important problem to solve. You're absolutely right in that we are missing opportunities left and right, because we are the innovators and the creators of this generation create and innovate completely differently than any other innovation or than any other generation. And the system was designed to build companies in that world, not this world. It's just that simple, right? Like everybody keeps chasing the same dream of how you used to build a company when you were building Ford Motor Company or Maytag, right? It's like, these are not the companies that we're building. The measures have to be completely different. So go change the rules, and you've got my support 100%, whatever I can do. Honestly. And I know a lot of people in Slovenia that have really tried to do that, and worked really hard. I mean, there's some folks that I would love to introduce you to
absolutely.
I mean, really, I would love to there was some thinking on this that was a few years ago that just, anyway, I would love to pass that on.
This have been
So
a
good.
long coming work, right? So I've been a founding advisor to AID for 3 years now.
Yeah.
So it's finally ready to roll out for the ATS market, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, believe it or not, but an auction-based exchange is an innovation. That's how outdated our systems are. The most outdated system is our capital markets, and people don't understand it. We open up capital markets within traditional licensing. I'm not talking about any revolutions here or opening up anything. Just traditional licensing allows us to be able to do with just a little innovation or big innovation,
That's right.
really, in capital markets and how we look at the trading and bringing back people to trading. We want to bring back people.
Oh, that's nice.
Because right now computers fight against computers, and you know what? Your computer is not going to generate that alpha. Not
That's right.
You investing in the company, in a startup company, right? Like
that's right. No way.
That's all, right? You know,
no way.
No way. And so connecting people back to the everything, you know, is basically, I think,
I love it.
Is the thing. Okay, my question for you would be. Next question would be, fast forward 25 years from now. So year 2045.
Oh man.
You are outside looking around at your world, thinking about the world that has become. What do you see? What do you feel like? What is that the quarter century forward future that you see?
What a great question. I think that travel is going to be impacted a lot. I think that we're going to get, I think there'll be some travel changes, particularly in urban populations, right? High density populations. I think there'll be some solving. I think we're going to figure out some democratization of climate when it comes to food. I hope we don't start growing food in warehouses and stop there. I hope we can find a way to use soil and regenerate some of our soil so that we're not just growing food in warehouses. I think people are going to eat a lot less animals. I think that animal consumption is going to go down. I think that we're going to look back and wonder why we ever ate pigs ever. And if I could say that happens in 25 years, that would be my blue sky, right? Stop eating pork. That's just me. I think that the technology in textiles space is going to change significantly. I think that what clothes do for us is going to be different. I think it's going to become something that where clothing will serve a much higher purpose and function. And I think that there'll be space travel.
I love that. Yes.
That's what I think.
Yes, please.
25 years. What's today? 20. Yeah.
Yeah. There are a lot of people that are in the space industry. You know, I'm involved with the space industry too. So, but they're convinced that they want to retire on the moon. And I don't know. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Yes, we'll see.
I don't know about 25 years, but there have been days when I'd like to go to the moon for a while.
No, you know, and that's, again, so much is happening in the space development, but it's all prevented from implementation by lack of capital.
That's right.
That's all. And we have plenty of capital. And the thing is
there is plenty of capital, by the way. Thank you. There's plenty of money.
And we can make more, right? So when we unlock liquidity, when we allow for really kind of a faster cycles, we can make more.
I think that's right.
That's fine, you know, and it's just so great. And we need this, and we're making it happen. So, well, thank you so much.
I'm so happy to see you. I know.
We want to see each other in person. You got me talking about all my things. Almost.
Well, then we need to have a private call, because I do want to hear about those other ones, because there's some magic in there.
Right. You're so amazing at this. And so thank you. I really appreciate it. I rarely get a chance to talk about different.
I've missed you though. And honestly, I haven't seen you since I actually think it was Vegas.
It was Vegas when you were talking about your rice project.
That was a minute ago.
Yeah.
I mean,
oh yeah.
So it's just been, so if you're ever in California, and of course, when I'm in Austin, unless we make plans.
They open Disneyland or no?
I don't know. I'm not a Disneyland girl on a good day.
Disneyer.
Are you? Oh my gosh. The first time I went to Disney, I was like, is this what it's all about? This is it.
I love it. You know, I love to float. Disney World is my favorite because we just go and we walk. I like to stay at like a yacht club or beach club, and we walk to Epcot, and then we just walk around. And you have all these street performers. There's always this like thing and floating and dressed up characters.
Did you ever did you dance?
I do ballet. I work out ballet. Yeah.
But that's your workout. Did you ever dance on a stage?
No, I didn't. But I was a model. My first, I was long time ago. When I was 14, I went to modeling school. No.
Oh wow.
13, I went to modeling school. It was the first modeling. It's a weird story. It was first modeling school in where I'm from, in like my whatever capital of a state where I'm from, and I remember. So I remember that this person was like, oh well, you're tall and you could be girly. And now I was always a tomboy, like in charge of all the boys, wooing them, and you know, like Russian tomboy. I was for reals, you know. And she's like, you could be beautiful. And I remember like, what, you know, and
wait, do you mean because you didn't think you could be beautiful, or because you couldn't believe?
I mean, like,
you were just like, I'm just a tomboy, I don't even want to be beautiful.
I mean, there's not even such a label of the tomboys. Like my friends are boys, we run around, you know, like.
Do you have brothers?
Or climb trees. No, I'm the oldest child. Like I didn't play with dolls. I didn't think it's just not my thing, you know. I just ran around, climbed the trees, and ran in the nature. I spent a lot of time in the nature. My mom sent me also to the group, like just, I don't know, social dynamics and everything. And yeah, you know, I never stopped and thought about like, oh, like pretty or whatever. And so when she said it, I was like, how dare you? Like, of course. And so it was interesting. It was really great. It was a turning point for my life. I'm really glad that I went to that school and then I did model. I learned a lot. You know, I learned that, first of all, I'm pretty, and people started telling me I'm beautiful. They like measure your face and they're like, oh, you have perfect face measurements. And I'm like, cool. You know, and then like, this is how you put makeup and that's how you walk. And I remember being like, oh, it actually feels pleasant, because if you know how you do it and it becomes natural and comfortable, it's just a tool. Now, we had this, you know, runway show where this person came in, the designer, and basically she kept poking. So like, people don't know about that, about models, but you can't say that like, oh, you pull my hair, or you're supposed to not talk when there's hair or
hitting you, yeah,
or clothes. You're like a mannequin. And some people are very abusive in the industry. They will poke you with the needle and they don't care. They just, and I don't think they do it to harm you, but they just think of you as a mannequin. And I was like, so basically it was me going to do the Friends show or something, or staying and learning school. And I was like, yeah, I do not enjoy it, because I won't keep my mouth shut. Like the lady poked me. I mean, the reason I brought it up is because we had this designer, whatever thing, and she poked me and I'm like, excuse me, this hurts. And she's like, well, you know, you're not the first one. If you're going to keep like, don't interrupt me. Don't you think you see I have a conversation? And, you know, I was less wise with the, you know, I was like, no, you do not get to poke me. Like, no, you will not do that. No, you cannot have conversation. I will not wear this. And in fact, it looks ugly. What are you making? And I mean, teenager, right? Then,
they're like, get her out of here. Get her out of here.
Yeah. You know, like, Right. So, but it's like, no, you don't have a right to speak to me that way. You're not a better human than I am. I am human. I have feelings. What if I poke you with the needle right now? Would you like that? You know, I don't have that in me unless
the be quiet and let them poke you. Yeah,
yes,
me either. As it turns out, yeah.
I'm like, look, I don't need your I have learned I'm beautiful. I don't need your confirmation, and I'm sure not somebody's dummy to sit there and use so you can put your ugly clothes on me and I can no.
I can't believe you're telling the designer their clothes are ugly. I love it. I love you.
It was ugly, okay. And you know, fashion often is strange, right?
It's definitely not. I mean, it's very individual, right?
Individual, right? And so, but I mean, they always. When I was talking today on the TV, I said like I do think that fashion, high fashion, the artistic people, they really can benefit from implementation of blockchain technology because, well, one, people don't want to go to stores anymore, right? Nobody wants to buy a luxury item for full price online because you can buy the same thing online. That's not cool. And often it comes from the same factory of slave workers, right? And so it's kind of like we need to fix, like we were saying, basically we need to fix the good part of, we need to empower the good part of like high fashion, but also we need to get rid of that ugly part where, you know, you think that the designer sits there and sure they'll do their prototype, they'll have their seamstresses, but then the production will go to, you know, high fashion.
Yeah. I mean, people just die over having your clothes made for you. So it's
Anyhow, so good to talk to you.
It's so good to talk to you.
Yes, and
I'm gonna send you a box.
Yes, and I need to get you a vertical wall because I've been wanting a vertical wall. I love those.
Take the wall. And I'm going to send you some sale materials so you can have an eye. You can know what's going on there. And
and I'll see.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So nice. It was so nice to have a conversation with a girlfriend in the middle of my day. Oh, thanks.
Thank you so much. I'll see you soon, and I'll see you soon, viewers too. I will post links to the things that you refer.
I'll send you everything. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That way it can be useful. And for you viewers, I encourage you to take that one little step. Remember that behavior cannot be changed at once with big overhauls. So just look at tiny little solutions. Subscribe for them. Vote with your dollars, okay? For better life for now, for you right now, for your children. If you have children, if you don't, just for you now. And then before you know, it will become a reality for all. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Love the program. Thank you. Thank you, Rena.